So hi everyone, and welcome to Member Stories. This is our series in the Trend Atelier school and community where we celebrate the forecasters and the futuring creatives that really dedicate themselves to creating a better future. And in this series, we talk about what futures and community means to them, also about their journey, and we're profiling really exciting and inspiring members. I'm Geraldine Worry. I'm a fashion futurist, designer, and educator, and other things. And I'm also the founder of the Trend Atelier. And today I'm really excited to have with us Anne-Liese Prem. Anne-Liese is a future trends expert with over 20 years of experience, like me. I think we're like the same generation. And you've been working for international lifestyle brands such as Swarovski, Red Bull, and more. And you're also specialized and really quite successful in the field of trends expertise in the Metaverse, Web3, and NFTs. And you have a really interesting background as well because you have a master's degree in international economics. And you've also worked internationally. You were based in Australia. You also lived several years in East Africa, but you're currently in Salzburg, which you're originally from Austria. And this is where you run your futures consultancy, Tomorrow Stories, which I love the name. It's such a great name. And it's also the name of your podcast, which I've come to really love. It has such great topics. Check it out. It's Tomorrow Stories, and you can find it on Apple and Spotify. But the other thing is I wanted to share, which is something that Anne-Liese wanted to share as well, is that she has this really cool handle in her Instagram and other socials, which is Alpha Girl, which she's taken ages to select because it's her digital twin, and it's also an NFT. So we love that about Anne-Liese as well. But she can tell you more about her work. And so we're gonna jump straight in. My first question for you, Anne-Liese, is if you could just tell us more about your work furthering, my introduction.
Yeah, thank you so much for this beautiful, beautiful introduction. And also thank you for having me. I feel very honored to be part of this and that you decided to showcase my work. So that is very, very nice. Yeah, I'm a future trend expert and I work in brand strategy mostly, and brands come to me from the section of fashion, lifestyle, and they want to know if their strategy is future-proof. So I come in and try to help them and be some sort of a compass to navigate the future. And within the last year, the metaverse has become one of the biggest and most interesting topics for a lot of brands. And because I have some sort of inner nerd about these tech things, which I didn't really know before, I took a deep dive into this myself and I educated myself about it. And I really felt like, wow, this is an area where I can totally thrive and where I can also have a lot of fun because I really enjoy everything that's going on there with digital fashion. And I really started to dig into this and come up with posts about it and talk about it. And then brands started coming towards me. So this has really kind of developed into my area of expertise within the trend forecasting industry, one could say. So within the last half year, I've not only started my podcast where I talk to people in the field of NFTs and the metaverse and also Web3, but I've also become part of NFT projects like World of Women and the Fabricant fashion collection. I'm their ambassador. I've also started to work with The Hug, which is Randy Zuckerberg's NFT project. And very soon, there's going to be a project coming out with a female race car driver. She drives within the Porsche family. Don't ask me which Porsche she's driving, but she's a really tough female race car driver, and she's launching NFTs. So I was working on the strategy for her NFT utilities. And I'm also going to be speaking at the Meta Festival, which is the first ever 24-hour Metaverse festival. And it's been really just, a whole new niche that I'm discovering, which is not the only niche I'm working in. I'm also working with fashion brands at the moment, and I'm also looking at holistic well-being and other fields. But yeah, this seems like it's a match made for me right now.
And I guess it's a really hot topic. So since you kind of had an understanding that this was like a core place where you wanted to really dive in, and you were kind of ahead of that, then it's great because you're kind of like, you can become a reference point in terms of the future direction, and that, and it's really exciting. I think it's we learn a lot also from people like you, because the metaverse is something that many people are a bit intimidated by, I guess. And
Definitely. We're at the very beginning, and it's totally understandable. And the user experience, I was just listening to a talk yesterday by some experts. The user experience of the metaverse is not very good at the moment. So it's very understandable that people say, this is not for me. This is, a hype or a trend I don't want to be part of. But we're actually already in the metaverse in quite a lot of aspects, and it's going to come. And the more you open yourself up, and the more you try to just dip your toe in a little bit and learn, and listen to people in this field, and maybe read an article about it that you probably wouldn't have read. Just get yourself a bit educated about it, because the more you know, the more you're ready for it.
yeah, it's really good advice. But if you could also like tell us a bit about your mission, because obviously in the community we're also very mission led as forecasters and futuring creatives. But it'd be great to know a bit more about that as well.
Yeah, my mission is to help brands navigate what's next. As David Bowie said, the future belongs to those who can hear it coming. So that's a very broad way of saying it. But I really feel like, especially as a woman, it's very important that we talk about the future, and that we just have our topics heard. And there needs to be a lot more future female voices out there. And I think that's what the Trend Atelier community is doing very well, supporting female future voices. And like that, my mission is also to be a compass for brands and for people to just try to, with all these information out there, you get so overwhelmed and you don't really know what you should really listen to and which direction you should go to. And I try to be a little bit of someone who can analyze it and break it down, and maybe be a bit of a, just someone who raises questions and then gets the discussion going. And I always find it so interesting when I do workshops. You always have people in there that have to go to the workshop because the company makes them go there, and they sit there and go like, the future, the trends. And those are mostly the people that have a lot of ideas about the future. We all do. And it's such a beautiful part of my work when I see how everyone then starts to put in their thoughts about the future and starts discussing it. And you hear so many new ideas and so many, positive ideas that how we can make it better. And I just want to be a facilitator for that, because I think we all have it in us, and we all want to actually make things better. And of course, the topics of sustainability and now in terms of the metaverse, also something where everyone says we should make sure it's not just the metaverse, it's a betterverse. We should now, at the very beginning of this new phase of the internet, maybe we can all think about how we can do it better, how we can make Web3 better than Web2, and not pull all the problems that we have in Web2 into Web3. And this is also where I want to join the discussion and have voices of women heard, or voices of diversity heard.
Yeah, it's really important to do that now and create strong foundations. And I guess I think that sort of brings comfort to me, because it is a point of concern, in not just the metaverse, but many fields that are emerging. Like, are we migrating the same habits? And we tend to get quite negative. So it's nice to, it is actually a more sustainable approach to actually focus on positive outcomes and realize that the future is something you can create, and not just something that happens to you. If you choose the outcome that you want to have as well, and then you work towards that. I guess that's kind of what you're saying you're doing also for brands. But I was wondering, this is a question I always ask all guests, but what, along the way you've had a career in different aspects of the creative industries. And I'm just wondering, what are the challenges that you've experienced along the way, or maybe just one challenge, but if you could share, because it's always a really nice way to, I don't know, to tell a personal story, and people always can relate to the journey, the real personal journey.
Well, my biggest challenge, but also the biggest gift somehow that my professional career has given to me, is that I just love being a freelancer. But at the same time, it's extremely challenging. I didn't thrive within the corporate world. I knew that quite early on in my first few years. I was like, no, that's not me. I want to be on my own. I want to have a consultancy. I want to be free. I want to be agile. I want to work with lots of different people on lots of different projects. And this has been quite a challenge, because it also gets quite lonely. And also it's a big challenge to keep on educating yourself about what's happening within the industry. Of course, you learn within your projects, but I was always looking for something that could give me more of a, how can I say this? I would even say, like a strong backbone to my work, and to something that just helps me be within a community. And that's why I actually joined the Trend Atelier community. And it's been very helpful in that aspect, if not the most helpful thing, I must say.
That's great. Yeah, I think our industry, that my next question was going to be about the community, but I'll skip it since you just mentioned it. But I think, as you know, like in general, in fashion, but also within futurist sites, it's quite gated and secretive. It's quite competitive. But the society we live in today, we can't be like that. So I guess it's nice to have a community where, we could be going for the same projects. We could be, but it's like this friendly environment where all helping
it doesn't
each other
feel like
out.
that at all. It doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel competitive at all. It really feels like, and I think that comes down to you sharing so much, and to you providing so much education. And I think this is a community based on educating people as well. And in that sense, I really feel like I've gotten a lot of tools from the Trend Atelier community. And also I've met very, very interesting trend forecasters, and I've had some of them on my podcast, like Guagnon or Rhiannon or Alina. And I've just really also been able to widen my network of people through the Trend Atelier community. And that's been very helpful. And also the tools I was mentioning, I think to be part of a community where people share things as much as they do in the Trend Atelier community, and where there's a lot of events where you can engage with and you see new ways of doing things. Like I remember not really having worked with mural boards, for example, and then attending a workshop and being like, oh, this is how it could work. This is how I could use it in my work. And that's been just immensely valuable for me. And it's something that freelancers have a hard time with, because how do you hear about a new thing? It's just by coincidence when you work with a client who has some new tool. But like this, you're always ahead of time with other future forecasters. You see how they are doing things, and you get a sneak peek into their work because they're sharing it, and then you can use it for your own projects, and it really helps you to just be much more within the zeitgeist, I think, in a lot of
I guess it's great that we have the future insights and we share ideas and concepts, but at the end of the day, there's also day-to-day requirements of being an independent or working on client projects, or just a number of things that ultimately we know, like, it's going to make everyone's life easier. And, you were talking about, I'm just jumping, but you were talking about the metaverse, and we are going through a type of revolution at the moment in many aspects.
Mhm.
So that's why it's so important to be in a learning and education mindset, because there's a lot of methodologies, mindsets, approaches that we need to rethink, even within future foresight, which is what we talk about. So that's kind of why, the education aspect is important. And that's why I love also your podcast, because you're interviewing really interesting people, and also your Instagram, like you always look at it in a way that you're really sharing information or something. You would really deliver value. And I think you just, in terms of like your work, obviously as a consultant, there's things we don't see. They're secret within the project and the client, but then all the things that you do in public are very valuable as well. You share a lot of really great and helpful insights, which leads me, I guess, to my last question, which I guess I just wanted to know what's next for you. I mean, so much has happened in the last 6 months. You've been a member for over a year, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like you don't need a new bio, but it's like, there's been a lot going on. Like you turn around, Anne-Liese is doing this, turn around, Anne-Liese is doing this. So if there's something else going on, I mean, you said it in your intro. You did say it in your intro. So what you're working on next, or perhaps it's a dream or something you're striving for the next year.
Yeah, the metaverse is moving at a speed at the moment, which is crazy. So I don't even know myself what's going to happen next week, to be honest. But I have some more podcast episodes coming out where I'm going to be talking about children and the metaverse, which I find very thought-provoking, actually, if you think about children's rights and also how the brain develops and all these things that are coming at us. Some very important questions we need to ask ourselves. And I also have another one on business opportunities in the metaverse. So it's very focused on that. But I see, as a trend forecaster and being very open to things that are going on and signals that are happening, I have to say that another big part of my life right now is really trying to stay in the real life as well and balance out my metaverse. So I'm going to be doing something on holistic well-being. And so look out for that. I can't tell you much yet.
Exciting.
But, I kind of feel like we really all need to make sure we balance ourselves within those 3D worlds that are coming up more and more. And maybe soon we'll meet the whole Trend Atelier community with our little avatars in the metaverse.
It's possible.
Atelier, I'm office that doesn't exist in real life. So,
I think as a community mama, I'm just waiting for a platform that I think is like very safe and inclusive, and I'm aware some members are neurodivergent, and
it's very true. No, I've actually spoken to someone who is doing an NFT collection about exactly that, collection about diversity, because the avatars right now are very actually one-dimensional. It's just one type of how you see yourself. And she's doing avatars which are, including, she's even trying to think of an avatar for someone who can't see. She doesn't know yet how she will do it. Amazing. But it's a super interesting collective. I have to share it within the Trend community.
Well, we have to stop, but so I will share who you might be able to connect her with in that space. But it's been so fun speaking and so interesting. And I know that
thank you.
You have to head to a meeting, and I have to go as well. And usually we try and do this in bite size, but it's been so exciting to get your latest news. It's really inspiring, and I love that you're approaching these innovations that are quite almost destabilizing for some people in a way that seems quite holistic. So that's really great. So excited to see what's next, I guess. And so people can find you. What's the best way to get in touch with you then?
I'm on Instagram daily.
Okay, all right.
Instagram, I try to keep my weekend stories now. Tomorrow's Stories on Instagram, but also on LinkedIn, Anne-Liese Prem. That would be the two places where you can reach me best.
Amazing. Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you at the next Member Stories episode.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.